Okay. Um, Voice test. Hello, 111. Okay. Um, Voice test. Hello, 111. Okay. And then let's post this. Okay. So yeah, so Bahunu, like I think we should start like 10 minutes early because የትላንትናው ቪዲዮ ላይ ስለ ዩኒሰን እንዳናወራ የከለከለን መጀመሪያ ፓርቱ ላይ ኦር ያ ብቻ if I'm going to be using a new language በየቀኑ አዲስ ላንጉጅ እየሞከርኩኝ ከሆነ ሞክር ከሆነ I should probably like explain it in 10 minutes or so ለዛ ነው ከአክቹዋል ቻሌንጁ ገና 10 ደቂቃ ይቀረዋል ገና it hasn't been released yet. So before that gets released, we're gonna set up Gleam and then just look at the docs and stuff. Yeah, just talk about it. Why is it good? And you know more. So yeah, okay. Let's start doing that. So let me just clear this, and then let's go into flex.nix, and then packages dot Gleam. I think it should be just Gleam, right? Searching XOS.org. Yep, Gleam. So yeah, Gleam is it's yeah, like of course it's a functional programming language. I would say it's a functional programming language. Again, it's not as strict as and then Haskell and no common phenomenon like it doesn't, it's not that far into being, it's like Rust like uses some functional programming elements and yeah, like but it's still like I would say ሁሉም ነገር ኤክስፕሬሽን ነው ምናምን እና ኢነምስ traits and stuff like that. Those are like some functional programming aesthetics to them, but yeah, Gleamም እንደዛ ካታጎሪ ውስጥ ነው ኮንሲደር ማድረገው. Still has some imperative operations like just yeah doing stuff like this and that, but yeah, but then you can do pipes, you can do like they have a bunch of optional types, results and stuff like that. So it still has some imperative stuff, but majority of it is functional stuff. So yeah, it's kind of like this taking that approach, and then they just created a language that you can compile to the the Erlang runtime, uh, the Erlang virtual machine, and I think another thing they support is JavaScript. So okay, this finished. So if we do Gleam, yep, it's like and the Gleam yeah build to ነው እና እንደ ካርጎ ነው. You can do add, build, check, clean, and then there must be a new. So yeah, we're gonna use that to set up our stuff. But I think the stream is going well, right? I think it should be going well. Yeah, from this I guess it's going well. Let me just scrub this down there. Yep, it should be okay. So yeah, so the first thing we're going to need to do is check እናርገው ኤዲተራችን ሰፖርት ያደርገዋል የሚለውን Gleam. Okay, language server ራሱ command runner ነው. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I like that. Okay. So let's do Nix format and say I guess commit chore add Gleam add all commits add Gleam. Let's do check role and then we're recording, yep, and then we're streaming. Okay, yeah, okay. Let's do this. Double check role. Yeah, so we just started Gleam, and then another thing I did yesterday is you can have like leaderboards in Advent of Code. So any leaderboard code, I'll just drop it in the chat. This is it. Kaza, you can share this between people, and then you can paste this in here, and then join. I think last year, join ያደረኩት የፕራይቬት leaderboard ነው ይሄ ክሪስ ቢስካርድ የሚለው so you can see a lot of people in here እዚህ ላይ I think እዚህ ጋር ነኝ so 30ኛው ሰውዬ ነኝ but I think it's sorted based on when you solved it so look people እንደተለቀቀ like በአንድ ደቂቃ ምናምን ጨርሰው ሰሚት የሚያደርጉ ሰዎች ስላሉ በጣም የእነሱ ወደ ላይ ይወጣል so if we see የኔ ሊስት ላይ oh no I accidentally removed but I don't remove them but so you can join it and then you can see a list of people based on who solved the puzzle first and stuff ከዛ sort down ያደርገዋል so I think አንደኛ ላይ ሄኖክ ኔትስ እና እኔ ነኝ አሁን ያለ ነው ማለት ነው we solved it around the same time or I guess በእነሱ calculation they ended up placing us at the same position I think but so that's what we did yesterday and today we're gonna be using Gleam one thing we might need to check is I guess we can go through that language tour here okay you can import modules okay probably read file IO ውስጥ ነው የሚሆነው I think I would say we're gonna read a file we're gonna need to read a file and then you can do unqualified imports okay it doesn't really matter type checking yep it's type checked I think እኔ ለመጨረሻ ጊዜ ግሊምን የተጠቀምኩት ጊታር it's like pre 1.0 ከ1.0 ሪሊሳቸው በፊት በጣም I think when it was first announced ምናምን I think I played around with the language if I remember correctly Gleam is GitHub recognize ያደረገው Gleam I think I made this project I just ሁሌም የሆነ አዲስ ፕሮግራሚንግ ላንጉጅ I guess ለመማር ሳይሆን የሆነ ምን እንደሚመስል ለማየት ስሞክር this is the game I implement it's just one of those random number generators so it's like compiler logging urasu it was heavily inspired by Rust like compiled in like you can if you've programmed in Rust you'll remember this like 3 lines like you see them every day if you write Rust so you get a number between 0 and 10 and then it tells you if it's smaller or bigger and then you like it goes on until you solve it until you tell it the correct number so so this is what it looked like when I was implementing it I don't even think they had record types then because that's why I remember we had to do this because they didn't have like structs or like object types we can define so we had to use this way of doing it but then we piped a lot of stuff and then okay Erlang line so we might need to call into some Erlang stuff if it's not defined within the Gleam standard library but that should be okay 3 minutes I don't know I don't like the fact that they have an echo keyword why did they add that it's crazy I guess you could use this as a debugging thing but it just I guess it could be useful if they don't have debugging. Yeah, echo, okay. I don't know. I think echo must be one of the things they added in the newer releases. I don't think echo was there when I was working on it. When I used it like yeah, 2 years ago. It's crazy. Yeah, it's been a while. 2 years ago. Okay. So printing. This is how you print stuff. You can convert bools to strings and stuff. Okay. Assignment. Assign stuff. Discard patterns. Okay. Underscore. Of course. Type annotations. I guess let's create the project. I think we will discover things as we go along. So die1 ziga ነበር. I'm gonna say gleam new die 02. We were not able to create your project as die 02. Does not have the correct format. Project names must start with a lowercase letter and may only contain lowercase letters. Okay, die underscore 02. Okay, yes. Yeah, the folder would still be die02, but I can name the project whatever I want. Let's look at the readme. You can say this is how you would publish it as a package. This is the main function, and then you can run run and gleam test. Okay, and then wait a minute. Do I have to tell it which file to run, or I can just do gleam run? Okay. And then let's do ll3. They added a GitHub workflow for us. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, it runs gleam test for us on CI. Let's just remove that. We don't need it. And we also don't need the tests. I know some people do tests for their like Advent of Code stuff, but I'm not gonna do that. And then they have a git ignore for us. They have a readme, and then the gleam.toml. Readme, remove that. Let's look at the readme the toml file, gleam.toml. Okay, it's just a list of our dependencies. I'm gonna gleam run paint new program not found. The program script was not found. Is it installed? Yeah, Erlangen ስለሚፈልግ. Oh, it opened up. Oh shit. Okay, I guess we should solve this first. Make sure we actually get how did I remember fixing this issue in the other repo, github.com flake.nix. I think we just need to install Erlang. Yeah, Erlang and rebar. Yeah, like I said, compile የሚያደርገው ወደ the beam virtual machine ነው Erlang ላይ. So it needs some Erlang dependencies installed to work. So let's just save this and wait for it to install. Meanwhile, we can actually get started reading the puzzle. Hopefully there are no questions. Yep. Okay, let's get started. Day 2 gift shop. You get inside and take the elevator to its only other shop, the gift shop. Okay, we had to figure out a password to get into the. Where are we getting into? Some kind of building, I guess. And then now we're going to the gift of. Thank you for visiting the North Pole. Gleefully exclaims a nearby sign. You aren't sure who is even allowed to visit the North Pole, but you know you can access the lobby through here, and from there, you can access the rest of the North Pole. So, but you can access the lobby through here. Okay, as you make your way through the surprisingly extensive selection, one of the clerks recognizes you and asks for your help. As it turns out, one of the younger elves was playing on a gift shop computer and managed to add a whole bunch of invalid product IDs to their gift shop's database. Surely, there will be no trouble for you to identify the invalid product IDs for them, right? They even checked most of the product IDs. They even checked most of the product ID ranges already. They only have a few product ID ranges. Your paddle input that you need to check, for example. So these are a list of ranges. So 11 to 22, 95 to 120. Okay, so and then the numbers could end up being very large, like at the end here. The age ranges are wrapped here for legibility. In your input, they appear on a single line. Okay, on a single line. Mm, the ranges are separated by commas. Each range gives its first ID and last ID separated by a dash. I guess this means it's an inclusive range. We gotta whatever operation they tell us to do, we gotta include the first and last ID in there. Since the young elf was just doing silly patterns, you can find the invalid IDs by looking for any ID which is made only of some sequence of digits replaced twice. So 55, 5 twice, 64, 64, 64 twice, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 twice. Oh no. Oh shit, okay, this could end up being difficult. None of the members have leading zeros. 01, 01 isn't an ID at all. Okay, 101 is a valid ID that you would ignore. Your job is to find all the invalid IDs that appear in the given ranges. So 1122 has two invalid digits, 11 and 22. So okay, the check is, since they are angry for just doing a silly pattern, you can find the invalid by looking for any ID which is made only of some sequence of digits repeated twice. So we gotta do a sliding window thing. So first we take the first one, and then we check if that's duplicated, and then we take the on the next one we take the first two letters, and then check if that's duplicated. Uh, and then we'll slide the window over once, or is it always gonna be just the first one repeated? But for some of them, like and then as in the 1 2 3 1 2 3, this could end up being different. So yeah, let's just look at the 95 to 115 has one invalid 99, has one invalid ID 99. Okay, 99 998 to 10 10. Okay, so it's gotta be it's actually okay. Okay, this could be simpler. It's simpler than what I thought, I guess. They're really strict about how the numbers are being repeated. It's gotta be only two chunks of the same repeating thing. Okay, I guess that makes it easier for us. Yeah, so two chunks and then 446, 446. Yeah, it can't be arbitrary. So depending on the length, we just gotta get the length divided by 2, get those number of characters, and then compare it with the rest of the string. That's what we have to do. Um, the rest of the ranges contain no invalid IDs. Adding up all the invalid IDs in this example produces. Again, I'm thinking of doing. Is there a way we can do that manipulation with integer operations instead of doing converting the number to a string and then? But it's already a string. We're reading it from a file. But range ውስጥ ያሉትን ነገሮች enumerate ለማድረግ we need to turn it into a number. So I think there might be a way to do this. I'm not sure. There might be a way to do this. to do this check with just arithmetic operations. But okay, so this makes sense. I think I understand the problem now, so let's get started. Let's go back here. Let's go into I think they finished installing, so let's go into die 02 gleam run compiling. Hello from die 2. Okay, that's correct. Die 2.gleam. So let me just increase the font a little bit, and then dot into commit amend setup, I guess, die 02. So as always, we're gonna start with our types. So we need something like this, a type called a range. I don't know if they have ranges in Gleam, but it should be, I guess, do they have an int? Yes, they do. It should be something like start and end int, and then there must be an equal sign here. And then I don't think you can do this in Gleam. Like I said, you can't just define a record type, so we gotta look at their docs. Record. Okay, you gotta define it like this, like I said earlier. So this should be something like this, and then instead of person, this will be range, and then we have a start int and an end int. This is what we need, and then we gotta do, I guess, pub. Okay. What's another thing we need? We gotta store a list of this. We need to store a. Do they have type aliases? If they do, we're gonna use that alias. Type alias, yep. Oh, yeah, we can just do, okay, pub type input is going to be a list of how do you pass in generics? I can just say range, and then we can run gleam check. I was not expecting this. Found a name, expected one of the. Okay, let's look into generics. Generic custom times, or let's go to lists. Okay, lists. How do you tell it that the type of a list? Let's just create a list and see what its type is. Okay, oh, you gotta parenthesize it. Okay, so it should be done like this. Nice. Okay, so this is our two types that we need to define. So first we need to implement pub function parse. What's their naming convention? Do they do what do they do? Let me just not that back in. Just do they use underscores, or I forgot? Yeah, they do underscores. Okay, so we gotta create a function here, or I guess here. We gotta call it pub function parse range, and we can say it's gonna take in a string, just some string, and then it's gonna return. I don't know if they have results, but it's gonna return a result of, or an optional. I'm not gonna, or they have a maybe. Do they have a maybe? Maybe. optional, maybe Gleam option type pelon, Gleam option type, the option module, I just call it option. Where is it? Nice, okay, it's an option. So we're gonna return an option, and then it's gonna either be a range or null, I guess. And then I guess this is not how you tell it how. Yeah, this is not how you function. Functions. Yeah, I'm correct. You do thingy and then unimplemented. Okay, yeah, I'll just we'll implement it. And then I think this is simple. So we're not gonna use a parser component, a parser library today, because we just need to split it on the dash, right? So this should be star dot split on the dash, but they don't have a split. Let's do this. Where's the table? Okay. Instead of doing that, I'm gonna do this clean string. Yeah, let's look at all of the functions they have here. Okay, they have a string here, append. We need some kind of split. A split. Okay, a split. Yep. So it should be split star on, and then why is this complaining? We can do one none here. We gotta import it, I guess. But do we need to install Gleam string or Gleam check? It's saying it doesn't know about option, so let's look at options. The option module. Okay. And then is there a Gleam watch or test shell LSP format? It says we gotta repeatedly run Gleam check, and then now it doesn't know about split, and then sum is unused. Okay, so let's go into strings. Gleam string, and then split. Remove that, and then Gleam, I guess format, reload. Nice. Gleam check. Okay, so እስካሁን ያለን ትክክል ነው፣ ግን maybe a split is we're gonna I think split once ነው ለኛ እኛ የምንፈልገው፣ ምክንያቱም a split returns a list, but we don't want a list. We know that's gonna be two things, so yeah, so we're gonna say split once instead. Yep, split once. Then how long have we been streaming? No, 30 minutes. Okay, we're going with this. I guess today's challenge is gonna be, we're gonna solve it faster than yesterday. So split once, and then do they have something like this? Hopefully they do. And then I can just do start and end. There are no spaces between the dashes, so yeah, just do stuff like that, but of course you don't need that. Gleam check. Pattern or destructuring, or I guess tuples. How do you destructure tuples? Oh, you need to do a hash in front of it, okay. And then we have start. Oh, and then it's a result though. Telco recursion, the result module. There's no way for me to pipe it, like an early return kind of situation. I guess if we don't do that, we can. If they don't have that, we can do something like this. Yeah, we gotta even the syntax is messing me up. We gotta think in functional terms. You don't have to create a variable. Result. Is there a thing that will turn it into an option for us? Option from result. This is what we want. So if I say okay here, and see what the type is, or maybe do that. And then wait, I guess. Yeah, it's gonna be an option and then string. So that should be okay. So let's just do this, and then we need to option dot map and take those to the first start and end values, and then how do you define anonymous functions? Anonymous, that's just fn. Okay, so instead it should be fn, and then it's gonna be a tuple, so nested parentheses. And then you don't need this arrow stuff. So here we need to, maybe also don't need it, don't need this here. We can structure it. I think we don't need that, maybe. Say gleam check. Something like this. Oh, okay, I forgot. Okay, it has to be like that, but the hash has to be in there. Is that how it's supposed to be? No, van type check. TypeScript, the TypeScript mind. Okay, gleam check. Okay. Expected one of function parameter. Where was the tuples documentation here? Tuples. Screw it. We can just do. We can just do this. So I'm gonna call this range, and then so we're gonna do this. We're gonna return a range. No, it's gonna be an option. So we're gonna, I guess, start range dot date start equals range. No, it's gotta be an int in range pipe range dot one string dot to int or integer. How do you convert stuff to integer? Is there to int? Oh, I guess I remember int of. Is that how you do it? Int from of to log and of. Yeah. Just do. This should be full screen and. I remember doing this in the previous example I was showing you, other than cream, and then source cream. There is a function called toInt, okay. toInt, or where was toInt being imported from here? ToInt. Oh, I just defined it myself. Okay, I guess we gotta call parse. So what I do? Int dot parse. Okay, I guess we're gonna be using this function then. Yeah. Okay. But here, no, we don't care about that. What does this return? It returns a result. So let's actually give this thing a type so that it will complain. So what I want to see is an option int. That's what I want. So we can say option dot from result, and then pipe dot to, and then you can say option dot map, and then you can have tuple, and then you can say tuple dot one. This has to be curly braces here. Oh, it's already an int. Okay, I guess in that case it's just we don't even need to do that. Okay, so we just need to do this, and we gotta say hopefully they'll have a join kind of thing. Option dot join or end. That's what we need. End. Do I have an end? And then sum or flatten from result is option dot map, option dot then, option dot updates the value held within by calling a given function. Okay, I think this might be what we want. But it calls it on what we have internally. But here it's just a tuple. We want to make sure that both of them are an option, and then once we have both of them, if we were able to parse both numbers to an integer, we want to create the range object. So yes, how would we do that? I think we're gonna have to assign this thing. I think that's what I'm saying, and then maybe pattern match it. So let's do let start equals this. So this is now an option int, and then the same thing for this is start, and then this is end. Okay, now we can say pattern. We can do pattern matching. Pattern matching. Okay, we use the case keyword, and then we list out the options. So case start comma end, and then something like this. It's not liking it for some reason, but what I expect to be able to do is sum, and then you can say start, start, and then if this is sum and return a option range start comma end. If it's anything else, we're gonna return none. We're gonna return a sum here, and then it should be an end, or there should be a then. Yeah, it should be a then. Okay, but it didn't like this for some reason. Let's run Gleam check. Okay, so it's saying the types don't match. Oh wow, this is great error message. So it's saying we're not using the result module. I guess we're not using it, but look at what it's saying here. Instead of building a tuple and matching on it, you can match on its contents directly. Case expressions can take multiple objects separated by commas like this. It's like it detected, like, so I guess people ከሌላ ላንጉጅ የሚመጡ ሰዎች confused እንደሚሆኑና like that they would start using tuples to pattern match ስላወቁ they specifically coded in this error message to detect if a person is trying to use a tuple when they're trying to match something, and then they give a special error for this. So on one of the things they say on their homepage on Gleam is that they have yeah, here to help. So they're actually really here to help. So they have really nice error messages because yeah, they just solved it for us. Yeah, I guess always remember to run Gleam check. Okay, now it's complaining about another thing. The custom type variant constructor sum is not okay. It's not imported. That's why. So it should be sum here, and then Gleam check. Expected 2 patterns, but got 1. Can I match on all of them? Is there a way I can set a default? Yeah, is there a way I can say the default, or I guess it has to be comma underscore comma underscore underscore comma underscore. Yeah, that makes sense. And then let's do clear Gleam check. Nice. And then we can remove this Gleam format, reload, save, reload. Okay, the formatting didn't actually do anything, so I guess it was formatting it as we went along when I was saving the file. Okay, so now we're able to parse the range. So the next thing we'll need to be able to do is parse an input. So let's create a function parse input. It's gonna take a string, but now we're gonna return a list of ranges. Yeah, so it's gonna be split now. Previously we didn't use string split, but now we should use that instead. So we can say string dot split string on what did they say? It should be a comma space, I guess, or there is no space. It should just be a comma. Okay, and then they split it on the comma, and then we need to list dot flat map, and then parse. Just gotta give it the function parse range. Oh, I guess flat map here is supposed to return. Okay. um, Map, filter map. Oh, okay, that's annoying. um, List, gleam list. There must be a type for this. Filter, filter map, filter map. Oh no, I want a filter map that takes that expects the function is taking to return. uh, yeah, so it even confuses some people. Yeah, it's Gleam, but yeah, Gleam looks a lot like Rust. But okay, let's search for option in here. Okay, option. So they don't have it. Maybe there is something in here with regards to how it can be used with a list all. Okay, this is what we want. Given a list of options, return only the values inside some. Yep, thank you very much. Okay, so we can say list dot map here, and then we can say option dot values. Nice. And then let's do Gleam format, reload, save. Okay, we now have a parse input function. So what we need to do now is actually read the file. So I don't know how to read a file in Gleam. How can I read a file? File, IO. I guess it should be, like I said, there must be a function in Gleam slash IO. There must be a read file or something like that in here. I guess there isn't. Is there a Gleam file? Or I guess let's search for file, read. Okay, Gleam read file streams, file stream open. No, isn't there just a read to string? I don't want to mess around with streams, come on. I think maybe yeah, so like I said, Gleam runs on different runtimes. So you can compile it to type to JavaScript and then run it in the browser, or run it with Node.js, and then you can compile it to Erlang, and then run it on the Beam. So depending on where it's running, some like file operation, like some IO operations might be different. So what we need to do is actually import that function from OTP or something like that. Yeah. Gleam read file. So I think, yeah, Gleam Erlang. Okay, we gotta use the specific Erlang, because in your run Yarraganella now. On Erlang Slona, this is what we should be using, and then there should be a read here. Yep, this is what we want. Read from pass, and then you can give it the pass, and then it will read it for you. So we can say here, you can say You can say, I guess, contains, but we should just pipe it, I think. So let's do read, but we gotta import gleam slash erlang slash file, but I think we need to install it. Yeah, we need to install it. So let's go up. I guess, is it just this, or is it this? I guess so. We need to say gleam add gleam erlang. Yeah. Okay, it finished. So let's just let's save it or reload. Read. Let's open it again. And import gleam erlang, and then it's saying he couldn't find it. Just talking about it. Oh, it was removed. Documentation can be found that. And then I guess read. Oh, they removed the file reader. The heck? Why? How can I read a file then? Come on, Gleam. Gleam. Simple file for basic file reading. I guess we have to install a third-party library to read a file. Gleam file. That's annoying. Should we ask ChatGPT about it? But I guess we know the solution, but I don't like the solution now. So what? Reading a file? How is not reading a file part of the standard library? This is crazy. Gleam, let's say erlang, I guess. Read file. Yeah, they removed it, and I guess they want you to use this library instead. Okay. Wow. Gleam add. Gleam remove this and then add simple file. Okay, so we can say remove that, and we can do simple file read. and do yep, that path is going to be so until now you are going to borrow. We were day 01. We created an inputs directory, so it's gonna be inputs.example.txt. And then what does this return? It returns a result, so we don't care about results. We want option from result, and then we can pipe that to but I guess yeah, this is what we want actually. I don't wanna. I want to know if the file reading the file fails. So we gotta do late assert, okay, and then contents, the contents of the file, and then yeah. What do I have to say from here? Gleam. Check. And then let's do echo contents, but I'm gonna remove that. It's messing it up. So let's do gleam run pattern match failed, no modern blah 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 blah, late assert. Oh, because the file doesn't exist, of course. So let's create the file, make their inputs, touch inputs, example, I guess inputs or example dot text, and then let's go back here, copy over the example input, save it, and then yep, exit, and then now let's gleam run again. Yep, now we're getting the file, but there is a new line. Why is there a new line? You told us there wouldn't be a new line. Well, they said the ID ranges are wrapped here for legibility. In your input, they will appear in a single long line. So yeah, let's just go in here and then do this. Yeah, and then are there any other spaces here? I think there is, so save that, then gleam run again. Always check your inputs. I'm just gonna call, so okay, so this here we're gonna run parse input. We're gonna create an input, parse input, and then give it contents, but I want to string dot trim. Yep, or just pipe it, string dot trim, and then parse input, and then this is input, and then let's echo out the input so that we know where. Actually, I was annoyed by the echo thing, but now I'm happy with it. Oh, so it didn't parse anything. Wow. What happened? It returned gleam run. It returned an empty list. Something is wrong in our parsing, I guess. But let's look at the echo content gleam run. Okay, but okay, let's do this, and then what does string dot trim do? Gleam dot run. this is what I wanted, but I guess there is something wrong in parse range. Dot and see what echo start comma end, or echo start and then echo end. Gleam run. It was able to parse them out correctly. These are the numbers, right? So some 11, some 12. So yeah, then 11, 12, 95, 115, 998, 10, 12. So this is correct. Why is it returning option to values? Is that what's messing things up? Let's do an option. Let's run this again. What? All of them end up being none? Even though the function... Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna add an echo here. Or I can't do an echo here, but I'm gonna echo this because gleam run. The heck is it talking about? This it doesn't make any sense. The lines are being logged, but the array is saying everything is none. Maybe how does map work? So we give it a string and then it returns an option range. And then the heck is this? Contents. And then we can add and then this just to clear gleam run. This doesn't. Oh, what an idiot! Holy shit! I'm returning a none here. Come on, you gotta tell what the computer to do the right thing. Okay, and then option dot values. Gleam run. Okay, nice. Now we're getting the correct stuff. Let's remove this echo here. Gleam run again. Nice. Okay, so we're getting a list of ranges. So now we finally have our input. Let's create the solution. So so we're gonna count, or I guess count invalid IDs. So let's call this function count invalid IDs, and then so count invalid IDs within the current range. So let's give it a range. It's gonna take in a range and then it's gonna return an integer. So how are we gonna do this? We're gonna use a for loop, I guess. We're gonna use a for loop. How do you create a for loop? For loop. I don't know. I don't think they have for loops. You have to use recursion or something in Gleam. I don't think you have loops. Gleam loops. Yeah, you have to use recursion. Yeah. Oh, Larynx in Y minutes. Loop. Yeah, recursion. Yep, we're gonna do the recursion. Okay, so this is what it's gonna be like So it's gonna be count invalid IDs, and then it's gonna be we're gonna define an inner function, and then yeah, so we're gonna create a variable here. No, we're not gonna create a variable, but we're gonna create a function here. It's gonna say, or something like, no, how are we gonna do this? So next function, or I'm gonna call this inner, inner, and say it's a function that takes a range, and then the current car, I'm gonna call it car, and then that's gonna be an int, and then you can do this, and then in here we can say if they have ifs, I guess I can if, or I guess control case expressions variable list. Okay, so we can do a case, I guess. Yeah, they don't have an if car is equals to range dot start. Wow, Gleam doesn't have Gleam doesn't have if expressions. If you want to write a conditional, you can use case. Okay, case, and then add missing patterns. So if this is true, and then we also need to have a count here, I guess, because we're counting the invalid IDs. Count is also an int. So if this is true, we're just gonna return the count. Otherwise, if it's false, we're gonna do stuff. What's the stuff? We're gonna car, and then we gotta do a string from we saw earlier int to string. Okay, and then after converting it to a string, we need to split it at the midpoint. So we need to store it, I guess, in some way. So this should be make car string equals that car string, and then we can do some kind of splitting thing first and second, and then we can say string, not split once, split at, is there a way I can split it via we have to do two separate operations, I guess. Drop start and then something similar. Okay, pad start, pub grapheme, a split. I guess split might be more complex than, oh no, it might support more stuff. So Gleam split strings. No, this is not what I want. Gleam string split. Yeah, this thing. And then let's look at the drop start. Yep, this is what we want. Drop start up to the yep. So this should be, the first chunk will be a string dot drop start, and then it's gonna take drop start from the current string, and then up to this is gonna be, let's call it a midpoint. It's gonna be char string dot length. Is there a way to check the length? Okay, so we can say string dot length and then divided by 2. This is the midpoint, so up to midpoint, and then instead of first, second, drop end, drop end. No, drop end. We don't want to drop the end. I actually have it. I have it inverted. So this should be drop end because we're telling it to drop the two. No, up to midpoint. I don't know. Or is it? I think midpoint Simon. Just the midpoint is a weird word, but so if you have 4, that would be 2. So drop 2 of the letters at the end. Drop end. Yeah, so it removed the 2 letters at the end, and then to get that will give us the first value, and then to get the second part we say drop the first 2 values at the start. So this should be drop start. But what about when it's 2, 1? Just drop 1, and if it's 0, drop 0, drop 0, and then yeah, I think this handles, or like, yeah, I think this handles, yeah, single numbers as well. So let's do this. So we have the first and the second. So we're gonna say if or we don't have if, case first equals second, it's gonna be let new count, and then it should be, if it's let's do, and then let's do this, I'm missing patterns, and then this would be, if it's true, this would be range, no, range, not range, but count plus 1, otherwise it will be just be count. So now we have all of the pieces we need to call the inner function again. Inner, it's gonna be the same range. Apparently we're not even using the range, right? Oh, we're gonna check if it's at the end. No, if it's at the end plus 1. Remember, it's inclusive at both ends, so end plus 1. So range, and then it needs the current, which is current plus 1, and then count is a new count, something like this. Inner, do I have to mark it as rec or something? Recursion, maybe anonymous functions cannot be recursed, but I don't think so. So let's just call inner and say it's a range, give it the range, and then the start, the current value is going to be range dot start, and then the count will be 0. And then yeah, one thing it's complaining about is it's okay. We can say it doesn't have to be an anonymous function. We can say inner in here. Okay, anonymous functions cannot be recursed. Okay, and then I guess we have to, in that case, we have to do something like this. Dun, 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 dun. Counting part like this. Or no, inner. Okay. Pub. Okay. So this should count them. So what we need to do is input dot, and I guess we can just directly pipe list the map with count involved by this, and then let's just see what that looks like. Lim run. Okay, we got 222 11 011. Let's compare this. So it has 2, then it has 1. Maybe what we also need to do for debugging reasons is echo them out here. Here I'd want to, if this ends up being true, I want to echo first and echo, or echo the car, the number itself, Gleam run. Okay, so it was 11, 12, 22, 99, and then 10, 10. It didn't catch 10, 10. Oh, it did catch 10, 10. But before that, it caught 11, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're not sharing the number. So if the number is 3, this is gonna end up being 1. So I guess in our current situation, the only kinds of duplicates we consider, yeah, it said it here, we didn't read it. None of the numbers have leading zeros. So okay, no, so leading zero. So what I'm saying is this has to be first equals second, and the length is not odd. Yeah, I think so. So let's do this first, and then end. How do you do an end here? Do you see just end string dot length, or we don't have to? We can say just end string dot length char string modulo 2 is equals to 0. Or let's just do this string length char string, and then we can use the char string length here. And then we can say is even. Oh, let's just do this is an int, right? Yep. So let's just say length is even, and let's do int is even, and let's just say char string length should be pub. Okay, now let's run it again. So 11, 22991010, this giant number 222446385. Okay, so I think we are, yeah, we this is correct now. So and then we need to do list dot sum or int dot sum. Yep. In sum equal sum equal, nope, okay, Gleam run 8. Oh, we have to return the current. Wait a minute. So it has to be current -1. Then. Oh, we're just counting them. We need to be populating them in some list. What am I even? Okay. It didn't say count them. It said collect them. Ah, shit. Okay, so no. So okay. Yeah, we are returning count here. That was wrong. So we're not supposed to count them. We're supposed to invalid or it's not even count invalid IDs, and then this should be IDs, which should just be a list of ints and then IDs, and then you can say instead of that, list dot append or I guess they have a push or I guess that's append is what we need, I guess. I'm not sure, but let's just take out the contents, the list. They don't show us the manipulations of list patterns. Yes, they just append. You guys call append on it. List recursion. Okay, we should just call append. So this is append IDs, and then we will add the current number in there. Instead of doing that, in this case it would just be IDs, and then this would invalid IDs, and then not count but invalid IDs, and then invalid IDs, and then this is a list of int, and then this is supposed to start with an empty string, an empty list. And then this is invalid IDs, not some, but let's just see that we didn't introduce anything. Oh, okay. The list is actually mixed up. What the heck? What is this? Oh, this is gonna end up being a list of lists, right? Yeah. So we have to, because each range returns a list of IDs. We have to say list dot flat, or we can just say flat map it from the start, and then let's look at this. Run. Okay, now it's looking correct. And then we need to list int dot sum, and then gleam run. Okay, this is the sum. Okay, that's correct. For the example, at least this is correct. How much time did it take us? 1 hour and 1 hour and 30 minutes. Holy shit. Okay. Okay, so let's download the input, our inputs. Get your input. So it's gonna be one giant line. So I'm just gonna do save, replace, and then we will copy over the input.text to inputs. So we have the input right here, inputs.input.text. Yep, this is it. And then here we would change this to input.text and just gleam run. Okay, seems correct. I'm gonna submit it. Yeah, we got 1 gold star. We finished part 1. Let's continue to part 2. But before that, I'm gonna say gleam format, and yeah, so I'm gonna say fit implement day 1 part 1, and then count and then push this. Okay, so let's just copy this over, or let's quit this and say copy source day 1 source day 02 dot gleam. I guess this should be part 1, dot gleam, and then no, okay, what am I doing? Source day source, now move source day 02 source part 1 dot gleam, and then copy source part 1 dot gleam to source part 2 dot gleam. And then I don't know how gleam run is going to handle this, but yeah, so we need to gleam gleam toml let's just say what we can do with a gleam toml. Can I not just pass it there? These are all the options. What if I just directly point it to a file, source part 1 dot gleam, and then gleam run source part 1 dot gleam? It says source doesn't exist. Can I not run a single file? Okay, this is gonna be annoying. So if this is the case, we might need to restructure it, right? Run the project text, build clean. Yeah, okay, so we have to do so git reset and then git clean. Yeah, so what we need to do is, nope, not like that, but here let's just I guess we need to move out, and then instead of calling this day 02, we need to call this part _1, and then we need to create die02, move part1 inside die02, and then now it's looking correct. If we look at die02, we should have a part1, and then in die02 we'll copy part1 and create part2, and then you have to do, of course, PR part1 part2. Okay, yep, we have part1 here, and we're not gonna modify it, and then we have part2 here. We're not gonna modify that. Oh, we're gonna modify that, I mean. So just die02, then you gotta enter part2, and then we can run Gleam run here. No, I mean in part. I guess we can run it here. Gleam run. Okay, it's working correctly. Let's enter die02, and then let's enter part2 here. But first we need to commit this. I guess we can add this. We can commit this once we're done. So let's just close that and start there. Okay. Yeah. So let's start working on part 2. Part 2, the clerk quickly discovers that there are still invalid IDs in the ranges in your list. Maybe the young elf was doing other silly patterns as well. Now an ID is invalid if it's made only of some sequence of digits, repeated at least twice. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 times, or 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 3 times, or 1 2 1 2 12 12 5 times, and then 1 7 times are invalid IDs. Okay, so yeah, midpoint stuff action is not gonna work now ማለት ነው. We actually need to iterate over the string now. Okay, so what are the rules though? If it's made only of some sequence of digits repeated at least twice. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This makes sense. What do you get if you are uphold the invalid IDs using these new rules? So I think what they're gonna force us to use the approach I was talking about earlier. So we're gonna iterate over the list and then create a window. Like we're just deciding to look at the midpoint and then comparing them, but we just have to create a window and then compare that. So create, like, for example, 1, and then split the list into 1 like I guess 1 characters, and then compare that all of them are equals. But if that doesn't fail, it could end up that being 2 or 3 up to the you can check. We'll check 2, and then we'll take 2 segments and then compare if all of them are equal, and then take 3 segments, 3 windows, like 3 I guess not windows but segments, I guess, yeah, 3 segments, and check if those are equal, and then 4 up to the string's length. So yeah, so we're gonna have to create an isValid function and then move all of this stuff to that. Yeah, move all this logic to that. I'm gonna create isInvalid here, and then it will take a number which is gonna be the ID, which is an int, and then it's gonna return a potential list of ints. Or it's gonna return a boolean, right? It's gonna return a boolean. I guess it's just a bool. So yeah, this is what we're gonna do. So first, of course, we're gonna convert it to string like we did earlier. Let's convert it to a string, id string, and then we're really gonna need a split by index kind of situation here, but they don't have that in Gleam, I think. So, oh no, we do need this. It's an ID, and then so this has to be recursive too. Yep, this has to be recursive. The base condition is going to be the base condition is going to be, so we will need I guess it's just an index int. If index is equals to and then we need the links. ID string, so if index is equals to id string length, in this case, if this is true, we're gonna, and then we haven't returned it until now, it's gonna be false. That means it's not invalid. We've checked all of that there are no duplicates in there. If this is false, if we're not at the end of the list, then we have to do the check. But the check is going to be we're gonna segment kind of situation. So, and then string dot do they have like, I want to chunk this up, I want you to chunk this up, but is there like a chunk or a group? Concat, split, byte size, capitalize, contains, crop maybe? No, that's not what we want. Crop first from UTF inspect, if empty, join, last, part, end, part, repeat, reverse, split, slice could be it, but it just gives us one slice, it doesn't give us a list. A split once, this would be good, but maybe by no, it's not gonna be good. Yeah, those are not gonna work for us. It starts with, that's a check, 2 graphemes, that's a list, 2 option, 2 UTF code points, 3 main. So I think what we need to do is turn it into a list of characters with 2 graphemes, and yeah, so instead of doing that, we just have to do int to string, and then string to graphemes, and then this will be list dot length, and then we have to do list. They should have something like that in the list. Gleam list. Yep, chunk. Or chunk by combinations. Nice. Return. Oh no, that's not return unique combinations. No, that's not what we want. What we want is chunk, but I don't know what the function would be. The function we would use to chunk them by. Does the chunk by give us the index? I don't think it does. But okay, so group maybe. Group list by this function, and then that only just takes a. Let's just slowly combination pairs. Just group them into tuples. Combinations. It's like matching every element with every other element. Count by predicate. No, that's not what we want. Drop while each. Nope. filter map, nope. Find, that's not what we want. Find map first, flat map, flatten, hold right, nope, that's not what we want. Group, this could be what we want, but what would we, it's not gonna work. Index fold, like format. I think maybe we might need to implement this ourselves. I'm not sure if they have it. Yeah. Third power, nope, that's not what we want. Key filter, key find. Map to map fold, max. I think we might need to implement this ourselves, but prepaint, range, reduce, examples, repeat, waste. Oh, size chunk. Nice, they have it. Returns a list of chunks containing count elements each. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, they have it. Nice, okay. So this will be list chunk sized chunk, and it's gonna be the ID string, or I guess it's just a list of characters at this point, list string, and then list size chunk, and then the chunk will be the current index, right? Yeah. So now we have the segments, which is a list of lists. So we have to, and then all, I guess, do they have all? So we need to check that list all of them are equal to each other. So that would be a reduce, not an all. Or we can check out we can take the first element and then do, yeah, I think so. What we need to do is get that, and then let's say first is equals to list dot first segment. And this would be late a third. Okay, we know that this will be always start. We know that this will always return, at least we will have at least one regardless of the chunk size. And then we can say list not all. Oh no semicolons, come on. List that all segment is satisfying segment, and then segment equals first. Oh no, you have to do this. Come on. Okay, I don't know if the comparison would work with I think maybe we might need to do something like this. Late first again, and then first dot join, or do they have I'm not sure, but list dot join, but we'll figure this out. Okay, let's just do this. So is invalid, we have this new is invalid function. So instead of doing that, let's say instead of doing this, we're gonna say is invalid, and then give it the current ID, which is just char, and then the current index it should start with 1, not 0, because we want to split with 1 at least. So let's just remove that, remove this, remove, then we have it. So let's go down here, and we have our inputs. So let's just say example, right? Yeah, it looks like Rust. Yep, it does. So let's just take the example and then run it, Gleam run. That does not seem to be correct. The number they were showing there was larger than this. Yeah, does not seem to be correct. So let's just look at it. Look at the, let's not sum it, but let's just see what we have. Gleam run. Yeah, I think the string this comparison stuff is not gonna work. Or first I want to try something else. I don't think we need this anymore. The is even check. I think we need that anymore. So 11, 22, 99, 111, 999. So 11, 22, 99, 11, 11, 111, okay, 999. So the 10, 10, no, show. Okay, length is even as well again. We've confirmed that. Yep, we don't need that. So here I think first, like comparing a list is not gonna equal to each other. Like even though they have the same contents, I don't think it's gonna equal. I don't think they're gonna be equal. Yeah, the equations in the tagam. Yeah, equal comparisons in the tagam. I don't think they're gonna end up. That's gonna end up being true. So what I'm gonna say is first, and then there should be some kind of strings dot join or string dot join thing. Yeah, and then we can say join first, and then I guess this should be an empty string. Join it with an empty string. We have the first, and then here we also do this to the segment string join, and then list gleam run. Okay, it didn't make a difference. It did not make a difference. So there is an actual bug with our implementation. Oh no, come on, what a stupid thing to do. So if we found it, so this is like this is the check code. This is invalid. Yep, this is invalid. And then so what we need to do now is k is invalid. I didn't finish implementing it. Why did I just go on to testing it? Okay, and then so if this is true, and then we return with true. If this is not true, we'll do is invalid, because it has to recurse. It's yeah, and then we'll just do idx plus 1. Okay, this is how we do it. Come on, what was I doing? Gleam run. Yep, this seems more correct now. We have 10 10. Yep, 446. So let's go back there and then list dot sum, not int dot sum, and then let's do gleam run. Okay, this one seems more correct. Nice. So according to the example, we are correct. Let's try running it with the paddle input.text, and then gleam run. Oof, it's gonna take a while. Yeah, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. String memory allocations all over the place, so that's why it took 9 seconds, I guess. But I think this should be correct. Let's put it in, submit. Did it. 1 gold star. It took us 2 hours in that London now, so it's gonna take us 2 hours every single day. So return to your Arabic calendar. Yep. So we'll be waiting for tomorrow. And actually, like I said قدام مجمع علي, I've created a leaderboard. So ቀድሞ የጨረሰ ሰው I guess Josephus did half part 1. Henok Nates also did part 1, I think. Or I don't know how to read this graph. And then yeah. Yeah, so this was the stream. We did it with Gleam today. We implemented it with Gleam. So let's just do that and say commit fit implemented day. Oh no, what did I say earlier? Oh, come on. Ah, shit, okay. My other commit was wrong. Commit day 2 part 2. So just read and then push, and then what we need to do is go back to the home directory. Nope, not home, but what were we doing? Advent of code. Let's readme and update the readme to say day 2 implemented in Gleam. And then let's put the Gleam dot run. Yeah, it is a good language. Like I like the language, and now they have like they really, because like I said, they can compile to TypeScript and then they can compile to Erlang. They're coming up with really good web frameworks. I think Gleam web frameworks. So you can do like in the TypeScript, like TypeScript backend API-አችሁን implement አርጋችሁ ከዛ like የፍሮንት ኤንድ ኮዳችሁንም በታይፕስክሪፕት ኢምፕሊመንት ማድረጋችሁ ነው I think one of the biggest things that lead to like its success is that, because like you can own the full stack with a single language. So the Gleam people are also trying to do something like that. So you can create your API endpoints ምናምን በግሊም and then that API endpoinታችሁ ላይ ያለው ግሊም ወደ Erlang bytecode compile ተደርጎ ቢም ላይ run ያደርጋል. and then on your front end ደግሞ ወደ JavaScript ራሱ ኮድ ወደ JavaScript compile ይደረግና it will run in your browser. So they have like I've never heard of Wisp, but I've heard of Lustre. So they're coming up with cool web frameworks, stuff like this. Yeah, it's like they're kind of following the Elm architecture, but yeah, it's good. Yeah, it could be a real container in that case, and the types are like more, I would say, the types are more type safe than TypeScript, because they don't allow you to just say any disable the type system and stuff like that. And yeah, it could end up being a good language to use for those kind of for that use case. And if you like the Erlang VM and stuff like that, Erlang VM ideaዎች ምናምንም እኔ one of the things that was limiting me from trying out Elixir was I tried it out. I kind of liked it. It's still a functional language, but it's dynamically typed. So ለዛ ነው Elixir ያልተመቸኝ የነበረው። ግን when Gleam came along, it was still using the Beam, but they added some types to it. So that's why I first got interested in the project. But yeah, they're like, yeah, they're doing cool stuff. So just sure update readme and then push. Okay, I think let's go to the Advent of Code 2025. Yep, okay. Gleeምን ያውቀዋል ቢያንስ ትናንትና ዩኒሰንን አላውቀውም ብሎ እያስቸገረን ነበር። So if we go to source, to dark gleam, source to dark gleam. Yep, okay, this all looks good. I'm gonna end the live stream now. See you tomorrow.